Hi, my name is Maribel Castaneda. I'm a scholar from Mexico. I currently work for Anahuac Puebla University. It's part of the Reino Christi Universities Network, a group of private Catholic universities in Mexico, Spain, Italy, Chile, and the United States. I'm glad and thankful to participate in this edition of the Global Listening Festival, Listening for a Better World. I think if we learn to better listen to people and to really try to understand the message they want to communicate us, we definitely might live in a better world. So I'd like to share with you an experience in regards in how we connect listening with leadership development. I currently serve as a coordinator of a doctoral program with focus in leadership and management of educational institutions. And we wanted to provide our students with a different experience in regards to their listening development. I think that the concept we have of leadership is that we develop leadership not only through the formal curriculum, like through the courses, the classes the students attend, but through very significant experiences, learning experiences that have an impact. Meaningful impact in our students' development. But first, I'd like to provide you with some background in how this experience was born. I was a doctoral student some years ago in the United States, and at that time, I think I struggled with several issues. It is well documented in research how international students face different challenges and they struggle with different issues. I think at that time, one of the key aspects in helping me to finish my degree definitely were the counseling services, like having this safe space where I could talk and feel listened and supported, especially in difficult times. As I said, it was a key element in helping me finishing my degree. I think we all know how important is listening, but I think that was like the first time in my life I was really aware in how listening it's a fundamental element for all of us. But at the same time, although the counseling services were a key factor in helping me going through difficult times, I wish I had more this kind of safe spaces or listening spaces, not only in counseling services, but also with my professors, with faculty, with the people we used to work in, on a daily basis. And sometimes I think they don't know, or at least they don't know at all, what are the difficulties, the challenges, the things that we are going through, and I think that's quite important, and they know all these elements have an impact in our academic performance. So I think that was like the first time, I had this idea in how to incorporate listening spaces on a daily basis in an academic program, and especially when we're talking about adult students and provide them with this kind of listening spaces. I think this is one factor in how this idea of the program I want to share with you today was born. The second thing is that, as I said, the program I serve as a coordinator is a doctoral program with focus in leadership and management of educational institutions. I was personally a student of these kind of programs in the United States. It was a program in leadership, educational and leadership and policy studies, and I witnessed how these kind of programs are more common in the United States. But in Mexico, although we have, several programs, with focus in education, doctoral programs, it's a great offer in terms of academic programs with focus in education. There are just a few programs with emphasis in educational leadership or in leadership and management. So at the university I work in, and we are really aware of the importance of these kind of programs, and we wonder how we can provide our experience with really meaningful experiences that have an impact in their leadership development. And also because the mission of the university itself says that the mission or the focus of the mission is in the contribution to educate leaders for a better society. So these two elements, as I said, made us think how we can develop or provide students with meaningful experiences, because we know that leadership is something that you don't develop. I mean, you as a person don't develop leadership only, as I said, through the formal curriculum or courses and classes with professors, but with meaningful experiences. So these three elements, my own experience as a doctoral student and having or not having like enough spaces in regards to listening and maybe meetings with professors, and also our responsibility. I mean, we take it seriously, this responsibility in how to provide meaningful experiences for students in regards of leadership. Let me, to think and develop about this program. This is kind of like a mentoring program, but we decided to call it an accompaniment program because we wanted to focus how we want our students to be accompanied through their doctoral journeys, but especially to support them in personal growth and also to support them through difficult times. So that's why we decided to call this program an accompaniment program. This is a program that we started 4 months ago. Actually, it's the first time, or it's like the first experience we have with doctoral students in terms of this kind of programs. Because, I mean, like 5 years ago, we started at the university with this kind of programs, accompaniment programs, but for college students, for younger students who are between like 18 and 23 years old. But we decided to have like a shift, in this program, and also to develop a special program of an accompaniment program for doctoral students. And I think we've learned so far like many lessons in regards with this program. But the first thing I'd like to share before the lessons we've learned so far is that among the concept of leadership that we have, I mean, among the elements that are part of the concept of leadership that we have developed at the university, is that relationship with others is a fundamental element in leadership. And when we talk about relationship with others, there are other two elements who are part of this bigger or larger element of relationship with others. And one is inspiring people. We have a concept of leadership in which inspiring is a fundamental component. We think that leaders should inspire people, and in our case, we want to focus or to emphasize a positive leadership, and that means that we seek, like the common good. So we want the students to be inspired in terms of how to work towards a common good. Like seeking good not only for a bunch of people or a group of people, but for the most people, that's why we call it like the common good. And the second thing is accompaniment. We think that a leader should support people, should accompany people in two elements. First, in a personal growth, I think a leader should seek that also the people they work with have a personal growth, of personal development, and also again like to accompany people and to support people, especially through difficult times, so that people really get resilience and they can emerge from these difficult times. So these two elements, like inspiring people and also to accompany people, that is part of our concept of leadership. We think that these two elements are not learned, as I said, through a reading or through a class or through courses, although they are quite important. But we think that these two elements are learned or are developed because we as people, as a person, because you feel it, because you have experienced it. I mean, you learn to inspire other people because you have been inspired at some point. You learn to accompany people, to listen to people, to support people because you have been listened, supported, and accompanied at a certain time in your life. So we wanted to provide students with this real experience of being and feeling, listen and accompanied, so that they in the future can develop or emulate these behaviors, and they can develop and learn how to inspire and also how to accompany other people. And so we have decided to design a series of learning experiences, but these experiences are more like in terms of reflection. We design the activities so that the students reflect, and think of on their own assumptions regarding leadership. And once they have these learning experiences, they work these experiences personally, and they have these meetings, meetings with professors. But these professors are trained, for this special program, and they are mentors, actually. They are mentors who accompany the student, and they have the opportunity to have these meetings with professors where, first of all, they are listened. Students are listened, and they can share their experiences, their thoughts, their feelings in regards to the program, but also in regards to these learning experiences that we have designed. That, as I said, these learning experiences are more focused on their personal growth, so they can share with the professor, with their mentor, all their thoughts, all their feelings, their emotions, even the emotions they have in regards with these learning experiences. And as I said, the first thing is that we wanted to provide them with a different space. Many of the students, or the majority of the students, have shared with us that they haven't had any kind of these listening experiences or meetings with professors or mentors at any other program, or even at any other context, academic, professional, where they can talk, where they can feel listened. So I think one of the first elements is that we realize how important it is to have this kind of spaces, like this kind of listening spaces for people. As I said, we have worked at the university, and I think in general we have developed more resources, for college students. But it seems like for graduate students, as students get older, it seems like if they don't have anything to share, if they don't have any struggle, or if they don't feel, they don't need, any kind of support, because there are not many spaces, for adult people, for graduate students, for adult students to feel listened and accompanied through difficult times. So I think the first thing is that we wanted to provide a student with a safe space, with the opportunity to be and feel listened, and feel accompanied and inspired and supported, so that they can also learn how to accompany and how to inspire other people in the future. But if you don't feel that, if you haven't experienced how to be accompanied, how to be supported, how to be listened, I think it's hard, to really learn how to do it with other people. So I want to share some lessons in regards with this program. This is a new program. As I said, we started this program 4 months ago, and we're still learning, We're still learning. We are in the process. But at the same time, I think we've learned at least some 4 important lessons. I think the first lesson is, as I said, to understand how vital are these kind of programs. Our students have told us how important it is for them to have these kind of spaces, these kind of meetings with their mentors, and being listened. Just being listened, just having the opportunity to talk to someone. Because as I said, as adult people, as adult students, it seems like there are not many spaces. Definitely there are not enough spaces for people to be listened. Just to have the opportunity to talk to someone, to talk about I mean, your thoughts, not only in regards to the program, but what you're going through, what are the challenges you're facing, because we need to consider that they are adult students, and they face many challenges. The majority of them, for example, have children, they are people at a professional stage, so they are working, and they are also, going or starting their doctoral program. So there are many challenges, they are facing at the same time. And just having the opportunity to talk to someone, to feel and being listened, I mean, that's key, that's vital for them. So I think the first lesson we've learned is that we need to continue not only trying to improve our program but to push to have these kind of spaces in academic context, and not only in academic context, but in this case in academic context where adult students have the opportunity to be listened, to share their thoughts, to share what they're going on, because that's vital. I mean, we've learned that when our students are listened, they feel validated, they feel they're important, that someone cares about them, and it's kind of like beautiful, because when people feel validated and feel that someone cares about them, they start, like developing more their talents and working on themselves. So I think that's the first lesson. We need to continue pushing to have more listening spaces for adult students. I mean, no matter your age, no matter the stage in which you are, in life, you need someone to support you. You need someone to talk. You need someone to listen to you. Yeah, so I think that's the first lesson. The second lesson is that when we talk about leadership, I mean, your purpose, or the purpose you have, as a person and as a leader, those are the foundations for leadership. So one of the things we've learned, we are trying to work with our students, is that we need to learn how to listen to yourself first. I mean, before listening to other people, you need to start by learning how to listen to yourself. So those are like one of the basic elements we're working with our students, or we have worked with our students in this month, is like in trying to help them and guide them in how to listen to themselves, and to be really aware and have quite clear what's the message they want to give to the world, what is the purpose, and because, as I said, those are the foundations for leadership. But you need to first start by listening to yourself, to be aware on what's the message you're giving to the world, and you need to be aware on your thoughts, on your behaviors, on your attitudes with people. So the first thing is like, you need to listen. You need to learn to listen to yourself. That's the first element. So as I said, we've been trying to work with our students and guiding them, first of all, in listening to themselves. What are their emotions? What are their thoughts? What are their ideas? And to have it quite clear. What's the message? What's the purpose you have? And the professional, environment, or at a professional context, when you are at an educational institution, what's the purpose you have, and what's the message you want to give to the world, because those are the foundations for your leadership. And it's really important. You need to be really courageous sometimes, to listen to yourself and to really be aware of what are the foundations, for your behaviors, for your attitudes with the world. And I think the third lesson is that I know that many times when we talk about listening, we say we should have like an active listening, and that means that you need to be there, you need to be present, and you need kind of like to really get the message that people is giving you. But it seems like although that's kind of like an active listening, it seems like sometimes listening is more like just getting the message that the other person is giving to you. I mean, just it's kind of like you are not trying to interrupt, or to intervene in the conversation, but you're there just to get the message that people is it's communicating. But for us, and before to say that, I'd like to recall on something that one of the women who has participated in this program in the past said. I mean, I read an interview, and she said that listening is having or means to have courageous conversations. And I agree, because for us, when we talk about personal growth and when we talk about working with our student in terms of that they are aware of their thoughts, of their purpose, and also of the things they really need to work in to be a better person and be a better leader. I mean, for us, that means to help our students and act like as a mirror, as a mirror that helps our students reflect on what are their weaknesses, what are the things they need to work in to be, as I said, a better person and a better leader. So for us, having these listening spaces, I mean, these mentoring accompaniment meetings, means to provide our students with a return message, with kind of like a feedback. And this feedback and this return message, or this message they get also from their mentors, it's fundamentally in terms or in regards to their personal growth, because that's the focus of this kind of meetings. So as some kind of like personal elements, we are really aware in how important is to provide or to give this kind of feedback in a in the most constructive way, in a really positive and constructive way, so that the students get the message. Obviously, we're doing it in a respectful way, but we need to talk about that. I mean, I think we all need to talk about what are the things we need to work in, for ourselves, for our persons, to be a better person and to be a better leader. And sometimes these kind of things, I mean, we all we don't like sometimes, to listen these kind of things, because they are things that maybe we're not aware about, or sometimes we are aware about them, but I mean, it's not comfortable. I mean, not many times it's comfortable. So that's why we know we need to do it in a very respectful and constructive and positive way. But we need to talk about that. So that's why I said I remember, this interview I was reading from one of these women saying that listening involves having courageous conversations. And I think that that's true. We need to really focus on having these kind of conversations that help us, growth as a person, as a professional, as a leader. And if you're not with someone that can talk to you and also say, this is what I'm looking, in you, this is what I think we need to work in, this is what you need to improve, I mean, basically we cannot grow. So I think that's one of the lessons we've learned, and how important it is to have conversations. Yes, first of all, to try to understand our students and to listen to them and to get the message and understand what they bring to the table, but also in helping them grow, and helping them grow means also to try to reflect and to act as a mirror in the things they need to work to be a better professional, a better person, and a better leader. And I think probably the last lesson so far we've learned is that we as mentors and needed to learn how important is nonverbal communication. I think we all have listened at some point, how important is verbal communication, or to pay attention to nonverbal communication. But I think most of the time when we talk about listening, it seems like we are more focused in that, in the verbal messaging, listening and hearing, what's the message, the verbal message. But we've learned how important it is to pay attention to everything, and that listening involves more than just using your ears, it involves using all your senses and being present with all, all your being when you are in a meeting with another human being, to really try to understand and get the message and observe everything that that person is communicating, because we all are we are communicating all the time, and with everything. I mean, even when we don't say a word, we are communicating a message. We are saying something is going on, or I don't want to talk to you, or maybe I am upset. I mean, we are communicating all the time. Even when our clothing, with our attitudes, behaviors, So everything is communicating. So we have learned how important it is to pay attention to everything, not only like the verbal message, but to the context, to the atmosphere of the meeting, or sometimes where the student is, because sometimes we have this kind of virtual meetings also. So what's the context, where the student is, the physical context, but also the attitudes of the student, changes maybe in their behavior. We've been working with our students, as I said, for a little bit more, 4 months. We started getting, to know the students. So we all know, for example, how the student speaks, if they speak slowly or fast. So when we detect some changes, we said, probably something is going on. So we have learned how important is everything, as I said. Listening not only with our ears, but listening with everything. I mean, paying attention, observe, detect changes in behaviors, in attitudes of the students, because that's part of the message. And that's part of the message in saying something probably is going on, and we need to detect that to support the student and to really understand what's the message and what the student brings to the table. So we were not experts, honestly. We were not experts. We're still learning, and I think this program has been very illuminating, not only for the students, but also for us, because that also has helped us into looking at what are the messages, or what are the things the student is observing in us, also as professors, as mentors, maybe things that we were also not completely aware, because I think that although we have some kind of formal evaluations in educational processes, sometimes like we are not touching, those qualitative elements. So these kind of meetings with the students has also helped us understand, as professors, as mentors, what are the things they are looking, they are observing, what are the messages that probably sometimes we are just also giving to the world, and that they are looking, they are observing in us. So it's been a very transformative and illuminating experience, not only for students, but also for us. And we're still in the process. We're still learning. I cannot say, those are the lessons I can share with you in terms of how important it is to have listening spaces with the students, and courageous, brave conversations with the students. We're still in the process. I hope to have the opportunity in the future, maybe at another edition of this festival, to share with you other lessons, but that's what we've learned so far. It's been, as I said, transformative and illuminating, and that's why I said that, I think if we learn to better understand, first of all ourselves, and then better understand other people, we might live in a better world. So thank you for letting me be part of this festival, and to share this message and this experience with you, for listening me, and I hope to see you in another edition of the Listening Festival. Thank you.